Welcome to the English Speaking Practice Podcast.
You are standing in a coffee shop. It is your turn to order. You know exactly what you want. The sentence is ready in your head. But right as you open your mouth, you freeze. Your heart beats a little faster. Should you say, "Can I have a coffee?" "Can I have the coffee?" Or just, "Can I have coffee?" You panic, mumble something very quietly, grab your drink, and run away, hoping the barista did not notice your mistake. If this sounds like you, take a deep breath. You are safe here.
Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I am Mark.
And I am Anna. Today, we are taking a very gentle walk through the world of English articles. Those tiny, quiet little words, a, an, and the. They are so small, but they cause so much stress. We want to remove that stress completely today.
Exactly. It is completely normal to feel confused by articles. Many languages do not even have them. So if you make mistakes, do not feel guilty. Your brain is trying to process a totally alien concept. Today, we will not give you dry textbook rules. We will look at how real people speak, how to sound natural, and how to make these tiny words work for you. And if you enjoy our gentle approach to English, take a brief moment to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. It is a small step for you, but it helps our podcast reach more people who might be struggling.
Let us start with a foundational idea. Our first key phrase for today is to prioritize pronunciation over grammar.
To prioritize pronunciation over grammar. This means you decide that how you say a word is more important right now than having perfect sentence structure.
It is like building a house. Pronunciation is the physical foundation, the concrete on the ground. Grammar is like choosing the curtains and the paint colors. If the foundation is solid, you can always change the curtains later. But if the foundation is weak, the house falls down, no matter how pretty the curtains are.
For example, if you say a grammatically imperfect sentence, but your sounds are clear, a native speaker will understand you perfectly. But if you have perfect grammar and confusing pronunciation, they will not understand you at all. So repeat after me. To prioritize pronunciation over grammar.
To prioritize pronunciation over grammar. And this brings us to our next phrase. To unlearn bad habits.
To unlearn bad habits. This means trying to forget a wrong way of doing something so you can make space to learn the correct way.
It is like trying to fix a painting after the paint has completely dried. It is difficult and frustrating. It is much easier to just sketch it correctly from the very beginning.
Real-life example. If you learned to type on a keyboard using only 2 fingers, you have to unlearn bad habits before you can learn to type quickly with all 10 fingers. It takes patience. Let us shadow this phrase. To unlearn bad habits.
To unlearn bad habits. This is exactly why we are focusing on how to actually say the articles a and an today. Most students are taught to say the letter A, like the first letter of the alphabet. But in natural British and American English, we almost never say A. We use the schwa sound. It sounds like
Just ah. It is the most relaxed sound in the English language. Our next phrase is a push of air.
A push of air. This means a very short, gentle release of breath from your mouth. No tension in your throat or your lips.
It is like blowing away a tiny piece of dust from your sleeve. Very soft, very quick. Ah.
For example, when you speak naturally, you do not say, I have a dog. You just release a push of air. I have a dog. I want a cup of tea. Shadow it with me. A push of air.
A push of air.
You know, Mark, I had a massive personal realization about this recently. I used to give my students lists of rules about the schwa sound, but they still sounded robotic. Then I discovered a completely different method.
Oh, really? What kind of method? Does it actually work for busy adults?
It really does. It is called shadowing audiobooks. You just take a book you already know, put on the audiobook version, and read the text at the exact same time as you listen to the narrator. But here is the secret hack. You do not just listen. You speak along with them, matching their rhythm exactly. You notice how the professional narrator swallows the little words? They never say, a cat. They say, a cat. By physically mimicking them, your mouth learns the muscle memory of the schwa. You stop thinking about rules, and your body just starts doing it naturally.
That is brilliant. It takes the pressure off the conscious brain. You just ride the wave of the narrator's voice.
Exactly. Now, there are two rare exceptions where we do use the strong alphabet sound A, or the strong an with a wide mouth. We do this when we want to emphasize something. If I ask for one drink and the waiter brings me two, I will look at him and say, "Excuse me, I asked for a drink, not two."
We also use the strong forms when we are pausing. This brings us to our next phrase, contemplating or thinking about what to say next.
Contemplating or thinking about what to say next. This simply means taking a brief pause because your brain needs a second to find the right word.
It is like the little spinning wheel on your computer screen when a video is loading. Your brain is buffering.
Yes. In real life, if you are looking at a restaurant menu and you are not sure, you might drag the word out. You say, I think I will have a sandwich. You stretch the sound to buy yourself some time. Repeat after me. Contemplating or thinking about what to say next.
Contemplating or thinking about what to say next.
Let us move to rule number 2, the pronunciation of the word the. This causes endless headaches, but it is actually a beautiful system.
Usually, we use the relaxed schwa sound again. The car, the house, the dog. But if the very next sound is a vowel sound, like A, E, I, O, or U, the word magically changes to the. It smiles. The apple, the orange, the umbrella.
And to make this transition perfectly smooth, native speakers do something sneaky. We add a tiny, invisible Y sound between the words. The apple, The end. This is called intrusion.
That leads to our next teaching phrase, connected speech.
Connected speech. This means the way words flow and link together naturally in spoken English, rather than sounding like isolated robotic blocks.
It is like a train track. If the tracks are broken, the train jumps and bumps. Connected speech is the smooth metal joint that lets the train glide perfectly from one word to the next.
For example, instead of saying the apple with a hard stop in the middle, connected speech makes it sound like one long word. The apple. Try it. Connected speech.
Connected speech.
Now, rule number 3 is crucial. It is about vowel sounds versus vowel letters. The rules for a, an, and the depend entirely on the sound that comes next, not the spelling.
For example, the word university starts with the letter U, which is a vowel. But if you close your eyes and listen, the first sound is a Y. University, a consonant sound. So we say a university, the university, not an. Or the word hour, like 60 minutes. It starts with the letter H, a consonant, but the H is completely silent. We start speaking on the O sound, hour. So we must say an hour, half an hour. Trust your ears, not your eyes. Rule number 4 is where we decide between using a or an and using absolutely nothing. This introduces our next chunk, countable singular nouns and uncountable nouns.
Countable singular nouns and uncountable nouns. Countable nouns are single objects you can count with numbers. Uncountable nouns are concepts, liquids, or materials that cannot be divided into single units.
It is like trying to count the sand on the beach. You can count the buckets of sand, but you cannot count the sand itself.
Exactly. For example, a bag is countable. I have a bag. But anger is uncountable. I cannot say, I have an anger today. I just have anger. Repeat this long phrase with us. Countable singular nouns and uncountable nouns.
Countable singular nouns and uncountable nouns.
I want to share a personal trick I use with my students for this. Many adults stress over whether a word is countable or not. I tell them to use the smash test.
The smash test? That sounds a little violent, Anna. Does that really work for grammar?
It works beautifully. Imagine you are holding the object in your hands and you drop it on a hard concrete floor. You smash it. If the object breaks into useless pieces and is no longer the original thing, it is countable. For example, hold a wooden chair. Drop it. Smash. It is now just broken wood. It is no longer a chair. Therefore, a chair is countable. You must say a chair.
Okay, I am following you.
Now, imagine you are holding a giant block of soft butter. You drop it on the floor. Smash. It makes a mess. But what is it? It is still butter. It did not lose its identity because it is a mass, a material. So butter is uncountable. You never say a butter. You just say butter. Or think of water. Drop a glass of water. The glass smashes. It was a glass. But the liquid on the floor is still water. Uncountable.
That is an amazing visual analogy. It takes the abstract grammar rule and makes it a physical reality in your mind.
Speaking of uncountable things, like liquids, let us look at our next phrase. To imply that.
To imply that. This means to communicate a message without saying the words directly.
It is like giving someone a quick wink across a room. You do not speak, but they know exactly what you mean.
For example, if you are in a cafe and you say, "Can I have 2 waters, please?" Water is uncountable, but you are implying that you want 2 bottles of water. The waiter understands the invisible words. Let us shadow it. To imply that.
To imply that. Let us check in with our listeners. Are you feeling okay? If this is helpful, maybe let us know in the comments below which rule is your favorite so far. It helps us know what content you love. Let us keep moving with small, easy steps. Rule 5. Known versus unknown.
This is the core difference between a and the. We use a, or an, when we introduce a new piece of information, something unknown to the listener. We use the when the listener knows exactly which object we mean.
Imagine you are holding a flashlight in a dark theater. Using a is like shining the light randomly into the audience and catching one random face. Using the is like turning on a giant, bright stage spotlight right on the main actor. Everyone in the room is suddenly looking at the exact same specific person.
Here is a real-world example. I say, "I bought a car yesterday." The car is red. First, I use a because my new car is a complete mystery to you. But in the second sentence, my flashlight is now pointing at that specific car. You know which one I mean. So I switch to the. The car is red.
We also use the automatically if there is only one logical option in the room. If we are in my house and I ask, "Can you shut the door?" I do not need to introduce the door first. We both see the open door. The spotlight is already on it.
Exactly. Let us move to Rule 7. Categories and professions. This is a trap for many learners. In English, we must always use a or an when stating what someone's job or category is.
You cannot say, "I am teacher." You must say, "I am a teacher." He is an engineer.
Think of the article a, like a professional uniform. You would not go to the hospital and see a doctor without their medical coat. In English, the article is the coat. You must put it on the word before you speak it.
That brings us to Rule 8, speaking in general. When we want to talk about big, broad truths using plural nouns or uncountable materials, we use 0 articles. Nothing at all.
If I say, "I like the dogs," I am talking about specific dogs, maybe the ones in my garden. But if I say, "I like dogs," with no article, I mean the entire concept of dogs across the universe, all of them.
This brings up our next useful phrase, the flow of the conversation.
The flow of the conversation. This refers to the smooth, natural speed and rhythm of people talking to each other without awkward pauses.
It is like a river moving gently down a mountain. If you put big rocks in the water, it splashes and stops. Bad rhythm interrupts the flow.
When native speakers are engaged in the flow of the conversation, they naturally drop articles to generalize. They will say, "Coffee wakes me up. Music helps me relax." Try to repeat this phrase. The flow of the conversation.
The flow of the conversation.
You know, Anna, zero articles are probably the hardest part for learners. Our rule number 9 is knowing when not to use an article at all, especially with proper nouns. We do not use them for people's names, most cities, countries, lakes, or sports. I play tennis, not the tennis.
But there are so many exceptions. We say London, but The Hague. We say Mount Everest, but the Alps. We say America, but the United States. It can drive a student crazy trying to memorize the logic.
I totally agree, which is why I want to share a trick that completely changed how I learn languages. I call it the chunks notebook.
Tell us about it, because memorizing exceptions feels like a punishment.
Exactly. The human brain hates abstract rules, but it loves patterns. So I advise my adult students to stop trying to memorize geography rules. Instead, get a small physical notebook. Every time you hear a native speaker say a location, write down the entire sentence, the whole chunk, in a personal context.
So instead of writing, "The Philippines takes an article," what do they write?
They write a real emotional sentence. For example, "My dream is to spend next summer in the Philippines." Or, "My brother moved to the United Kingdom." You memorize the musical chunk, not the rule. When you learn to ride a bicycle, you do not read a physics manual about gravity and balance. You just get on the bike and let your body feel the balance. The chunks notebook is like riding the bike. Your brain absorbs the article as part of the location's name.
I absolutely love that. It takes away the academic pressure. You just collect little souvenirs of language, little chunks. Which brings us to our final phrase for today: to start making connections.
To start making connections. This means your brain begins to link new information together automatically, without you having to force it.
It is like walking through a thick forest. The first time, you have to cut the branches, and it is exhausting. But every time you walk that path, it gets clearer. Eventually, it is a smooth road, and you can run down it without thinking.
Real life example. When you start keeping your chunks notebook and shadowing audiobooks, you stop translating in your head. Your brain starts making connections. You naturally say the US without remembering why. Shadow this last one with us. To start making connections.
To start making connections.
We have covered so much ground today. The schwa sound, connected speech, the smash test for uncountable nouns, the spotlight effect for the, and the chunks notebook.
You do not have to remember all of it today. Just take one tiny idea, maybe the smash test, and play with it in your head this week while you are walking to work or cooking dinner. be gentle with yourself. Language is a long, slow river.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. If you found a moment of clarity in this episode, please share it with a friend who might be fighting their own grammar battles. Leave us a comment with your favorite new metaphor.
Keep listening, keep shadowing, and do not worry about the small mistakes. We will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Goodbye, everyone.